Hi again. John Wesley Bready, This Freedom Whence. We're continuing our discussion about Egerton, Ryerson, and the influence of Methodism in Upper Canada, now called Ontario, the most populous province of Canada. On June 18th, 1836, Upper Canada Academy was officially opened with an initial enrollment of 120 students, both men and women. On October 12th of the same year, its hard-won charter was formally granted. It was the first nonconformist college in the British Empire to receive a royal charter. More than 3,000 pioneer Methodists in Upper Canada subscribed to the building of this academy, their subscriptions averaging about $16. And if the superior critics, who so glibly assert that the evangelical revival was a benighted movement, will condescend to learn anything from facts, they should remember that on one of the preserved subscription books appear 1,000 contributors, only one of whom was unable to sign his name in full. In the New World, as in the Old, the revival was an educating as well as a soul-redeeming and character-building movement. 6 years after its founding, Upper Canada Academy changed its name to Victoria College, thus avowing its loyalty to and admiration for the young Queen. When it opened Faraday Hall, it provided the first building in Canada devoted exclusively to the teachings of the sciences. On moving from Cobourg to Toronto, its utility and fame increased. Today, it is a fully fledged university, still holding its own charter and granting its own degrees, though now under control of the United Church of Canada and affiliated with the State University of Toronto. We should add that now there has been a university, which I attended back in 1968-69, then was not a university, but it was a technical school. Ryerson's named after Ryerson, now unnamed after Ryerson, in the wake of political correctness and wokeism in southern Ontario. Anyway, it's not called Ryerson anymore, but it owes its origin to him, and as does Victoria College in the University of Toronto. In October 1936, Victoria University, before thousands of its alumni and friends, celebrated the centenary of the reception of her royal charter. Among the eminent men upon whom she bestowed her Doctor of Divinity degree was Canada's then Governor-General, Lord Tweedsmuir, so well known as John Buchan. John Buchan, the author of, responsible for the famous novel and movie, The 39 Steps. Addressing convocation on behalf of his fellow recipients of that degree, Tweedsmuir observed, quote, "I find myself among eminent theologians who represent various communions of the Christian Church, an example of the ecclesiastical broad-mindedness which is so pleasing a feature of Canadian life. There is another feature of Canadian life which I heartily approve. I do not know any country where the Church and the world, or shall we say the better side of the world, walk together so harmoniously." End of quote. During these celebrations, Tweedsmuir made this further declaration: "The Christian religion alone gives the warrant for that high evaluation of the human soul, which is the meaning of humanity." Far more than is commonly realized did that ecclesiastical broad-mindedness and that Christian leaven in Canada's workaday life, which Tweedsmuir so admired, derive from the saddlebag preachers who rode the rough trails of Upper Canada. A century earlier, they, as firmly as Tweedsmuir, believed that vital Christianity alone could inspire and sustain that high evaluation of the human soul, which brings to humanity vision, hope, and power. And in that faith they built. These trailblazers established the first missionary society connected with any church in Canada. By their struggle for freedom, their heroism, and their selfless zeal for the kingdom of God, they stand an eternal challenge to all smugness and inertia in church and state. The most eminent of those trailblazers, Egerton Ryerson, not only founded and edited the most influential newspaper in Canada, he became first principal of Victoria College and later founder of the educational system of Ontario. With the magnificent system of public schools now possessed by Ontario, says the French-Canadian historian Sir J.G. Bourrineau, must always be associated the name of Dr. Ryerson, a famous Methodist, the opponent of Mackenzie's seditious action, and for many years the superintendent of education." End of quote. In 1844, Ryerson was appointed chief superintendent of schools for Upper Canada. He visited New England, the British Isles, Germany, and other countries, and learned from them all, in some cases, what not to do. The Education Acts of 1846 and 1860 were both drafted by him. His statue in front of Toronto Normal Training College recalls the fact that he initiated Canada's excellent system of teachers' training colleges. During the 33 years of his superintendency, says the Encyclopedia of Education, Ryerson built broadly and well the foundation of the present system of common school education in Ontario. That system has left an indelible impress on the whole educational structure of Canada, while its reflex on other lands, within and without the British Empire, has not been small. It is a logical consequence of Ryerson's work that Ontario, for many years, has had compulsory education till 16 years of age. So this also is a child of the flaming enthusiasm created by the revival. Nor was the expression of inspiring, adventurous Christianity in Canada confined to the Methodist frontier breakers. The heroism of Roman Catholic missionaries is inextricably woven into the romance of Canada's development. Moreover, the great English revival, which created Methodism and initiated the Protestant world missionary movement, affected profoundly all the pioneer Reformed communions in the premier British Dominion. The frontier work of early Presbyterians was equally evangelical, equally adventurous, and scarcely less magnificent in its effects than that of the Methodists. And from the first, these churches learned to cooperate. The same spirit increasingly permeated the Baptist, Lutheran, and Congregational churches, though they represented much smaller numbers. As for the Anglican Church, it too, when once it freed itself from the shackles of the family compact and dropped its stiff, assuming airs, captured this missionary fervor and became a splendid pioneering force. The moral, social, and educational history, both of the United States and Canada, is bound up with the heroic evangelizing efforts of these voluntary religious bodies. And what such missionary zeal accomplished in the New World, it accomplished also wherever Anglo-Saxon influence became widely diffused. Next subhead is Christianity a feat? I'll put in a link to a video Vivian did from Victor Shepard's mini bios. Lord Shaftesbury, who perhaps more than any other individual changed the life of England's children. See you soon.